Okay. Responsibilities. Overall manager of the Navy Marine Corps Decedent Affairs programs is Navy Casualty, Navy Mortuary Affairs. I do not know how many times I have seen that on an advancement exam. A bajillion times. Put a big star next to that one. Okay.
That's the second bullet?
Yes. Okay, Smon. This is in the weed stuff.
That's what the school is, right, for
Say again?
you know where the school's at as well for the mortician test?
Probably. I don't know. I think they get a very high advancement rate too. I thought they come in as like E5s or some crap like that.
So they get trained at E5, but I've seen a lot HYT out because they go to Army commands and they get P's because that's what the Army gives. And so they don't advance.
Well, the Army sucks. My dad was in the Army, so I can talk shit all day on the Army. Alright. Commanding officer, officer in charge, medical service corps, alright, yeah. So basically saying at any smaller unit, kind of they have control over their decedent affairs programs. Okay, and again the manual I mentioned. 5360.1. Alright, now understanding these, it's gonna make a lot more sense, okay? Now, this one right here combines these two. Right? So let's just forget this is on the screen right now for this one. Okay? Current death provides mortuary services and remains are shipped to the place designated by the pad. Okay? Where do you designate your pad at? Yeah. Page 2. And Mill Connect. And I need to say not or Mill Connect, and Mill Connect. Because I'm pretty positive, maybe somebody who's worked in decedent affairs can correct me, Mill Connect is where they're pulling the information from. Because that is a DoD-wide website more than just NCIPS. Right? So when you update your page 2, you need to make sure that Mill Connect is reflecting the same thing. Okay? That's also where you put your gratuity, which we have now have $500,000 instead of $400,000. Okay. Graves registration. Keyword here. Temp cemeteries. Right. Search, recover, and evac to temp cemeteries. Okay. So one gives the gets shipped to the pad. The other one is used for temporary cemeteries. Okay. And then concurrent return. What do you think that means if I just said that, right? You have remains to the pad and you have temp cemeteries. Now this is combining both of these. And logically, what does that sound like you're doing with this program? You're taking somebody from a temp cemetery and moving them to a permanent disposition. Does that make sense? So that's all it's saying is, hey, we didn't have time. We had to put them in a temp cemetery. Now this is the way that we're going to take them from the temp cemetery and get them to the permanent location with the concurrent return program. Does that make sense? Alright, so keyword here. Return of remains, okay? Don't get tied up on temp cemeteries. We just learned that temp cemeteries is on the last slide. What I want you to pay attention to is that they cannot be evacuated under the concurrent return program. These are the people that fall under return of remains, okay? What are some reasons that people could not be evacuated back? What are some things that happen in the world?
Like biological.
Yep. Biological war in general, right? Do you think they had a lot of time during World War II and World War I sometimes to get the bodies back? No. Right? But during peacetime, right? They would then be able to activate this to get them back to return of remains. Return of remains. It's in the name. Returning the remains from this area back home.
Isn't that the program that they're using doing right now in Vietnam in order to bring some of our fallen guys back?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm gonna guess probably. I'm guessing that's the same exact program, but that's the whole point of all this, right? We don't want bodies that are our loved ones chilling over in the overseas. We need them back home with us, or Arlington Cemetery, or any of these other big cemeteries. All right. CAC-B. Okay, so do not get this confused, because this is where it's going to mess you up, right? We talked about, what was that first responsibility on the first slide? Let's go back and look at it. Overall manager, Navy Marine Corps Deceit and Affairs Program is this person, right? Now, let's go here. CAC-B is administered by the CNO, Personnel Command, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps. I guarantee you that this person right here is going to be one of your answer choices on the overall manager of Deceit and Affairs. So know who runs Deceit and Affairs, and know who runs the Casualty Assistance Calls program. So your CNO and your CMC, not your Command Master Chief, your Commandant of the Marine Corps. Okay. All these cool terms here, right? CACO, PAD, right? What's CACO?
Casualty Assistance, Casualty Assistance Calls Officer.
Correct. They are the ones that is liaison to communicate with the PAD. What's the PAD again? Okay, so instead of using all these fancy acronyms, let's break it down Barney style. It's a person contacting your mother or father, or whoever you said, hey, when I die, I want my remains to come to you. They are there for making sure, helping that person through that time, getting all like the funeral prep or whatever else is needed in that support system. And I think when we go on here, they are appointed to them, I think, for like 6 months or sometime.
So it depends on how long it takes in order to bury and get everything situated with the family. The CACO for my sister-in-law, he was in contact with her for probably a good 7 or 8 months, just because that's how long it took to bury and get everything settled for my brother.
Tracking. See, it's going to vary based off of the situation you're in, but what I want to get at is it's not just a one and done, like a duty call. They are attached to it, kind of like a SARP. Anybody have ever been a UVA in here? Same kind of concept where the UVA has to stay with that individual throughout that process, and it's kind of their support system. Okay, now there are time frames on here. This is what's going to confuse you on the test that you need to pay attention to. Okay? Notification of death. Okay? Notification of death. Within 4 hours, the CO must submit a casualty report. Within 4 hours, the CO must submit a casualty report with a notification of death. I'm not going to say this because this is common sense. It's going to be sent by priority message. Okay? Now, here's another time frame here that you guys need to pay attention to. A couple time frames. How many of y'all have seen this one on the test? The time frame of when you can make the calls? Between 05 and 2400. That has been on the test. Oh, well, I've seen at least a couple. And they want to know. Oh, no. I'm just saying, I want y'all to know that it's one of those recycled questions they throw on there. They want to know the time frame of when you can notify that PAD. Or primary next to kin, not PAD. Primary next to kin. Alright. Responsibility of the member CO to make sure that personal notification is made in CONUS. And the commands follow that. So for CONUS, the member CO has to make personal notification. OCONUS, they follow the SOP. Or whatever they have for that region. Okay? Alright, so here's that time period I was talking about. CACOs are assigned for a period of 90 days to 9 months. If all y'all like doing alliterations or numbers that are the same, just keep those 9s together. So 90 days to 9 months. Okay? Now, we have all these time frames here. This is where it's going to mess you up. Alright, so it was notification of death was within how many hours? 4. Okay? Initial notification is made by the Keiko who schedules follow-ups to the next of kin within 24 hours. Does that make sense? So this person has 24 hours to contact the next of kin. The CO has 4 hours just a notification of death in general. Right? And then after the notification of death, the CO is required to write a letter to that appropriate next of kin within 48 hours. Hopefully that's helping make sense a little bit here. Okay, what was this answer again? 4. Okay, notification next to kin. 2400. Keikos are assigned for what period of time? Keikos make initial notification, schedules a follow within how many hours? CO has to write a letter to the next of kin within how many hours? I'm going to tell you right now, this PowerPoint is also wave tops. But I know you're probably tired of me saying this crap. In Google Classroom, I actually provide a whole breakdown of that chapter. And when I tell you I go through instructions, I literally go page by page, annotating what looks like might be a test question. So if you want more detail, there's stuff that's missed on this PowerPoint that can be caught on that breakdown. Alright. Air crew member. I know this one's been on the test. They love scenarios. Okay? P-117 states that when an air crew member dies while serving as an air crew member of military aircraft, the medical officer will recommend to the CO that an autopsy be performed to determine the cause of the death. It will say who recommends the autopsy. That is the question that's usually asked. Okay? So who recommends it? A medical officer. Okay? They are, I thought it was required. I think it's required. Most of the time it's required for aircraft members because they want to know cause of death. You don't turn into an Amelia Earhart situation. Alright. See if I'm missing anything else here. Okay, so this one's for aircraft about medical officer recommending to the CO. But the CO, if deemed necessary, can also request an autopsy. Alright. So I say that because what they'll do, they'll say something that sounds like it would be the right answer. Primary next of kin could request the autopsy. That sound like it could be something that could be an answer? Right? We want to know that the commanding officer is the one that does that.
Well, I got a question. It might be so what if they can't notify the next of kin? Like, they can't find one because that's actually happening on our ship now that they can't find nobody to tell.
So the person on their page 2 was unreachable, or they didn't have somebody identified on their page 2?
I guess they say they, reached out and no one has responded back to them about the sailor, so I guess they just hold them. Yeah.
Damn.
No. He was the one that died in a motorcycle accident like a couple weeks ago.
Well, common sense, and common sense isn't so common. Like, if my kid hasn't talked to me and I'm used to talking to them and I haven't heard from them in 2 weeks, like, I would try to be contacting the command to get a hold of wherever my son is.
I work with somebody who said he talked to his mom in 5 years.
Damn. No, I'm just saying, like, something doesn't add up. Don't worry, I know you're checking your time. I will make sure we're good on time. You ain't gotta worry about that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I'll probably get back to you, but that is a weird situation where you have nobody to get a hold of. Yeah. Alright. Non-military and retired officer autopsy. Okay? Now this is where the end next of kin comes into play. See, I said that they would have been related to the active duty member, but this is for non-military and retired. They can have authorization for the next of kin for an autopsy. Okay? Private autopsy, right? So, just like anything else military, if autopsy is not deemed necessary, but the pad wants to do one anyways, they'll probably be paying out of pocket, but they can elect to have a private autopsy. As you see, actually, they just explained it. Family is financially responsible. It's with anything in the military. If they're not authorizing it and you're just going ahead and doing it, you're going to pay out of pocket. All right, another time frame, because this is what this chapter loves. All right, so we're talking about search, recovery, and identification. Okay, so when efforts continue past 36 hours, reports are dispatched every 24 hours to BUMED and KECO. Okay? So after 36 hours, the CO every day has to give an update on what's happening. Or update to BUMED and KECO. Okay? This one right here. Does anybody know what your statement of recognition is? What form? SF565. Right? Statement of recognition. Okay? Minimum of 2, and then fingerprints to substantiate ID. That has been a test question. How many? What's the minimum amount of number of states of recognition? All right. Easy to remember: primary and secondary expenses. Anything that involves prepping the sailor, like caskets, all that stuff, is a primary expense. Okay. Secondary expense is all the extra stuff on top of it. So flowers, vaults, anything, organist, anything that involves the actual funeral itself. So primary is prepping the body. Secondary is all the funeral stuff itself. Does that make sense? One that would throw me off, because I know they threw it on the test, flowers. Sometimes people think flowers is just already a primary expense. It's actually a secondary expense. I think I've seen that as a test question. We are not going to list. All right. So I said statement of recognition was your 565. Your certificate of death, 2064. And why I said that not all the forms are on here, there are actually a bunch of 2060 forms. There's a 2065, which is certificate of death, or CONUS, right? This one. So, right? I like to say this because it's an easy way to remember it. 3 copies of the certificate of death and 2 copies for the statements of recognition should accompany a body. 3 and 2. Okay? This one right here is always on the test. 18 gauge, 23 by 78, and then your oversized is 25 by 81. All you gotta do to remember it is all you're doing is adding 2 numbers here, adding 3 numbers here. 23 to 25, 78 to 81. And what I also know is not on here that you're going to study is when it's contagious and what it's supposed to be on the casket. You guys remember seeing questions like that where it's gummed with... Yep. And look, it didn't even go over refrigerated and ask you the question. That's also on the...
Refrigeration of the body?
Yep.
First 2 slides, I think.
Did it?
Was covered.
It was?
It was at the top of the 2 slides.
Ah, okay.
There you go.
36 to 40. Know that range. 36 to 40.
I knew I saw it.
They will not do Celsius. They usually do Fahrenheit for that. For the test. Any questions over to Student Affairs? Okay. We're going to go through these next 2 PowerPoints.
Quick time out. So they're kicking us out of the room, but I don't want to rob y'all of the EAP experience. So we're going to move this over to the schoolhouse classroom. Has anybody been over there before? Does anybody know what that means? All right, so I'll walk over. You can follow me, and I'll walk you over there. But the short version is you're going to have these doors. You're going to take a left. You're going to go all the way to the very end of the hallway. You're going to go through a set of double blue doors. You're going to go all the way down. You're going to take another left. You're going to come into a lounge-looking thing.
That's a lot of directions.
Kind of guide to the right to the classroom to the back of the building.
Can we just follow you? Is it a walking distance or a driving distance?
It's in this building. We're just going down the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Take your stuff with you, because like I said, sub's coming in here.
All right, y'all, we're going mobile. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
Good?
Thank you.
That's my first one.
Thank you.
I've been here before. What? Long time ago.
Have a seat, go outside and see him. Come on in. Come on in, come on in, come on in.
Excuse me.
You got E4s in your shop that are coming at EAP next week.
Oh, man.
That's where it's going to be at if it's not in the chapel. So 2 days in the chapel and the rest of the next week.
Oh, no, because I think
Sorry.
It's like a
What? Instruction 1322.24 MRT. Trust me, we've been where you are. We know how it feels. Okay. So, just think of it this way: you're not at work, right? You're just here trying to better your career. You just had to read fun instructions and be more knowledgeable. What's that?
Yeah.
You been home?
Like
Where you work at? Hey. Oh, you're in bed time, yeah.
A lot of them came from command, so I'm right here. Relax wheels, but you know, they all take their money from Oh, so Alright, while they're putting this up, hello again, I'm HM1 again. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they hear
I'm gonna strangely sit next to you while you're teaching, so they can hear you.
Are they on the line yet?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Just bear with me, I'll just say that. Bear with me, I am still checking in, so I'm coming from an operational command, and I have not done a med-IG in quite a bit of time, but I'm pretty sure all you guys are somewhat versed on MedIG, the command program. So,
Oh, we doing this one next.
all right. So, are you close enough? How you doing today? Doing okay? All right. So we're gonna try to speed this up so you guys can get out because we'll have you working past your normal hours.